Hey guys, Reggie and Kayla here. Today we're going to be analyzing the all-new for 2024 Top Thrill 2 roller coaster coming to Cedar Point. Top Thrill 2. They still haven't changed the name.
They still haven't, and now I think it's officially too late. We were holding out hope, but
Yeah, they've got the big giant sign bill and everything, so I think it's
official.
I think it's official. Yeah.
So Top Thrill 2 is set to open on this Saturday, May the 4th, traditionally Star Wars Day.
Woo!
We normally like to celebrate privately, watch the movies at home, but this year we're making an exception. Before we dive into the breakdown, let's talk about the sordid history of this roller coaster.
It has quite the history. So, from the 1980s to the early 2000s, amusement parks were constantly trying to one-up each other with record-breaking coasters, which was fantastic for us.
To our benefit.
Absolutely, and this was known as the Coaster Wars. Cedar Point was a major player in this. Actually, they were the biggest player in this because it would be Cedar Point, and then another park would try to one-up them, and then Cedar Point would one-up that park, and yeah, it was crazy.
Hence the 17 coaster lineup now, I think.
Is it 17?
I think it's up there, yeah.
Wow. So Cedar Point debuted Millennium Force, which was the first ever Giga Coaster full circuit, which means over 300 feet, making it the tallest and fastest full circuit coaster.
So not even 2 months later, Nagashima Spa Land in Japan opened up Steel Dragon 2000. This coaster is 318 feet tall, 95 miles per hour, and 8,133 feet long, which is ridiculous, and still currently holds the record.
As the one record it still holds is the length, for now anyway.
For now.
There's
rumblings out of Saudi Arabia.
There's some things going on in Saudi Arabia that are pretty interesting, but it's a different topic for a different day.
Neither here nor there, and I won't comment on how true I think this is.
So yeah, Millennium Force had the record for 2 months, not even. And so what were they going to do? Come back with something 400 feet? You're damn right they were.
That's precisely what they did.
So the Swiss manufacturing company Intamin came in to build a behemoth. These crazy, crazy people. So Top Thrill Dragster was installed in 2003 at Cedar Point, making it the first ever strata coaster, which means it goes over 400 feet now. There is a Superman ride out in Magic Mountain, California. The structure is 415 feet, but the coaster does not go anywhere near that height, so...
Doesn't count.
Yeah, that's kind of cheating. Doesn't count. This is the first coaster to ever go 400 feet high. The top hat... the height of the top hat, 420 feet, drop 400 feet, and you get launched from 0 to 120 miles per hour in just 4 seconds. So this was nuts when it happened 20 years ago.
Face ripping off speeds.
The ride utilized a hydraulic launch, which uses pressurized fluids to propel the coaster to speeds that were before unobtainable.
The coaster operated for nearly 20 years, but in August of 2021, a tragic accident did occur. A metal bracket flew off the coaster and hit a woman who was actually standing in line for the ride. Terribly so, this caused severe brain damage. This coaster would never operate again at this point. It wasn't until a full year later that the park actually put out an official statement on September 6, 2022, stating the following. We have an important update to share regarding our Top Thrill Dragster roller coaster. After 19 seasons in operation with 18 million riders experiencing the world's first strata coaster, Top Thrill Dragster, as you know it, is being retired. However, Cedar Point's legacy of ride innovation continues. Our team is hard at work creating a new and reimagined ride experience. We'll share more details and information at a later date.
Okay, so based off this statement, it was evident that Cedar Point had no intention of shutting down this ride for good. So all the rumors began swirling. Was Intamin going to come back in and reimagine this? Another manufacturer? People were guessing left and right what was going on. And it wasn't until July 2023 that Italian manufacturing company Zamperla, Zamperla, leaked on their website, I don't know if it was on purpose, that they would be partnering with Cedar Point on this project. So yeah, if you know, Zamperla is known mostly for their flat rides, which are amazing. Like their giant frisbees, discos, nebulas, air flyers, just to name a few.
We love those.
And you can find them everywhere, and they are amazing flat rides. But as far as coasters go, they don't have the widest portfolio. What they have is mostly just like kiddie and like low thrill family coasters that are just kind of like okay. So this is quite the endeavor for Zamperla, and it's pretty shocking, honestly.
Crazy name, crazy manufacturer coming in. Like, what are we supposed to expect? So enough about the history. Let's get into this ride. Old trains removed. They've been replaced with brand new lightning trains from Zamperla. We're not exactly sure what that means, but they look awesome. They look comfortable, and they have lap bars only, so thank goodness. We did not want any over-the-shoulder restraints on this.
Yeah, very sleek looking trains. The seats are definitely higher than the old trains were, and we're thinking that's going to change up the ride experience for sure, but we'll get into that in a little bit once we get to the layout. So as far as what they kept from the ride, the old Intamin Dragster, the top hat is still all intact, and all the track after the fact into the finish line, into the brakes, that's all still there. They did replace the launch track. The launch system itself, it's not a hydraulic launch system anymore. They're using LSMs, or linear synchronous motors, which propel you using magnets instead of pressurized oil.
It sounds very futuristic.
Yeah, actually, even though this technology existed before the hydraulic launch.
I learned something new today.
Yeah, and they're not as intense as the hydraulic launches, but they're definitely more reliable. And seems like they're getting more and more intense as time goes on. So yeah, it seems like they're making their way.
This is a genuine question. Can they not use the hydraulic anymore because it's not truly Intamin anymore, and that is only an Intamin thing?
Yeah, I think they own that technology, so
okay.
I don't think other ride manufacturers are allowed to.
They needed to make an adjustment.
I could be wrong on that. Let us know if I'm wrong.
I'm genuinely curious. But yeah, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it seems to be the case. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the LSM launches aren't as intense as the hydraulic ones, but far more reliable. The old Dragster and similar rides like King of Cod, which is another Strata Intamin launch coaster, suffers from downtime all the time. Yeah, very temperamental, this launch system. So this should make for a much more reliable experience.
So where the original ride would just launch you forward from 0 to 120 miles per hour over the top hat, ending in a short ride, now we'll be starting off with a 74 mile per hour launch toward the top hat, not quite halfway, and this is where things look like they're going to get a little crazy. You then roll backwards, hitting that same launch, which will boost you up to 101 miles per hour up the new spike.
Going backwards, that's crazy. That's going to be an intense experience right there, yeah.
I've never traveled backwards that fast in my life, I don't think. Right, and as the train gets up there, 300 plus feet for sure, close to 400 in the back. After what I'm sure is a few seconds of weightlessness, you start your journey back down the spike, hitting the launch for a third and final time, boosting you to the original speed of 120 miles per hour, up the top hat, down the twisted drop, and through to the finish line.
So yeah, we noticed a few things here. We're thinking that backwards section is probably going to be the craziest part of the ride. And if you look at how high it goes up this spike, yeah, every seat on that train is going over 300 feet. If you're in the back seat of that train, and if this spike is actually 420 feet high, you're getting really close to 400, it seems. So this might be a back row coaster. Another thing that we noticed is that in these videos, the trains are flying over this top hat way faster than they used to on the old Dragster. I don't know if they were just lying about the speed on the old Dragster, or if like these new trains just have like better wheels to keep the speed going up better, but they are flying over the top hat. This is going to result in like insane ejector airtime up there.
Yeah, it's not losing any momentum.
Yeah, no, it's hauling over that. And also on the way back down, the twisted drop now, since these seats are elevated so much higher off the track than the old trains were, I think the laterals here are going to be wild. Like your speed of rotation is going to be even faster because you're so far away from the track. Like possibly like it's probably going to feel like you're just like trying to get like thrown into orbit or something. But yeah, no, very excited for that as well.
Though we doubt it will have the same intensity as the original Dragster, it just seems like this is a much more complete ride. They added in so many different elements, go big or go home. They could not give us the same thing they gave us last time. You're going to have 3 launches, a new spike, backwards sections, which is going to be the most unique sensation, I think.
Yeah, the elements that already exist on the ride are going to be even better now, because now it seems like, yeah, you're going over the top at even faster. The new trains are going to go through that the twisted drop like with way more force than the old ones did. So even the old sections of the ride that are still there are going to be like way cooler now, I think.
And better suited technology for what they're trying to achieve, I think.
Exactly.
We love how Cedar Point approached the theming on this one. So they aren't normally the biggest in theming. It's not like a Disney or a Universal, but we appreciate what they've done here.
Yeah, we certainly tried, yeah. I appreciate that.
Themed to racing, and
that entryway portal sign is amazing.
That looks really
cool. That looks really, really cool, yeah.
I think we were both hesitant when we heard Zamperla, but it looks like they really are going to hit this out of the park. They took a lot of care and attention with this, and we honestly, we're so excited to get to try this out.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very, very special ride. And I'm so happy that this exists and that King Ka, which is one of our home parks here, exists as well, because now we have 2 different ride types. And I really, really hope that Six Flags does whatever they can to keep King Ka the way it is for as long as possible.
Because now they have to.
It's the only one left, so take care of that thing, please.
And I like that they have 2 different launch styles, so they're different, but they're the same. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think, King Ka is going to be the more intense ride overall, but Top Thrill 2 is going to be the more complete ride, and probably the one that's enjoyed by more people.
Agreed.
So just so you all know, we've never been to Cedar Point, so we've never gotten to go on the original dragster.
Full disclosure.
Full disclosure, yeah. Our best comparison is King Ka, so that's kind of what we've been going off of. They're essentially the same ride. King Ka is a little taller, a little faster, but like different restraints, so...
Our closest comparison.
Yeah. So if you've been on Top Thrill 2, it has been open for preview events and stuff like that. So let us know how it is, or if you're planning a trip to Cedar Point soon, let us know that as well. We'd love to hear what you guys think about the ride.
Definitely, and a comparison to the original if you've been on both.
Because we have not. So unlike our last analysis video, which was for Voltron at Europa Park, if you haven't seen that, the link is in the video description below. Go check it out. We're actually going to get to ride Top Thrill 2 this year, and it's going to be our first ever visit to Cedar Point, which is unreal. I can't believe we haven't been there yet. It's like our ultimate bucket list park.
It is. It's embarrassing to mention, but we soon won't be embarrassed any longer.
Maybe sooner rather than later. I don't know. You better subscribe and stay tuned so you don't miss anything.
Don't want to miss that.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.